Hello my dear students, I welcome you all to your history online class. So in today's class we'll be dealing or we'll be focusing on your fifth chapter that is known as the Khalji Dynasty, which we see the reigning period from the year of 1290 to 1320 CE. So in this chapter mainly we'll focus about the Jalaluddin Khalji as the main founder of the Khalji Dynasty, followed by his son-in-law or his nephew known as Alauddin Khalji, and what were the measures or the steps or programs taken by him in order to stay away from the Mongol invasion under Genghis Khan. So let's start the class. First, talking about the last chapter that is known as the Slave Dynasty. So if you have seen the two videos about the Slave Dynasty, we see all the rulers in a ranking order or in a chronological order, starting from the first known as the Kutubuddin Aibak, the main founder of the slave or the Mamluk dynasty, followed by his son-in-law Samsuddin Iltutmish, after the Raja Sultana, Nasiruddin Muhammad, and finally Ghiyasuddin Balban. And we see the last ruler of the slave or the Mamluk dynasty was the grandson of Ghiyasuddin Balban, whose name was Kaikubad. So after Kaikubad was been killed by the nobles and the officers of the Khalji rulers, we see there was a new rise on the empire or the kingdom known as the Khalji dynasty, with the founder known as Jalaluddin Khalji. But as Jalaluddin Khalji, he poses to be a very old age, nearly about 70, and he could not restrict on lots of administration ways in a proper or in a better way. So that became one of the weak point for the founder, and lots of nobles officers started conspiring against Jalaluddin Khalji, and we see ultimately his son-in-law or his nephew known as Alauddin Khalji, who was then given the areas of Awadh and Kara as a governor to see overall the maintenance over those two kinds of states. He, along with his lots of nobles and officers, they conspired against Jalaluddin Khalji, and finally he was been killed. So after the death of Jalaluddin Khalji, the new ruler or the emperor on the Khalji dynasty, we see over the Alauddin Khalji in the year of 1296 CE. So after Alauddin Khalji, he became the next successor or the king of the Khalji dynasty. He took lots of measures, lots of administration system where he wanted to make it very strong as well as powerful, as well as a lot of conquest or area conquering were also being done by him under the leadership of many generals, and the main who got a lots of interest over lots of areas, that was the known as Malik Kafur, who was a slave who was being purchased by Alauddin Khalji just for 1000 dinar. And later on, by seeing his efficiency, by seeing his lots of knowledges over battles, about conquering the Indian states, so he was given the title as general. So along with Malik Kafur, Alauddin Khalji had to conquer many of the Indian states like Gujarat, followed by Malwa, Chittor, Ranthambore. So they got victory over all these kinds of Indian states. The next we see that how even after he became the king of the Khalji dynasty, he also conspired against the two sons of Jalaluddin Khalji, whose name was Arkali Khan as well as Qadar Khan. So both of them were also killed by Alauddin Khalji. And then even he was able to defeat the king known as Raja Ramachandra, who was then the ruler of Devagiri towards the southern state. So in this way we see overall the conquest strategies or the planning, how he was able to get it, or he was able to get lots of victory over the Indian state, at the same time with lots of kings as well as nobles, and overall he stood as one of the great king or the emperor of the Khalji dynasty. The next topic we will focus on this chapter is regarding the system or the different types of like a policies or scheme that was being issued or imposed by Alauddin Khalji. Next, talking about the Rajas as well as subordinate, where they also had to pay a annual tribute. Once in a year they had to pay a tribute to Alauddin Khalji just to maintain the overall administration as well as the large army, how to provide them a proper weapons, skilled, lots of trainings to be provided with lots of dress, and overall this they had to pay a annual tributes. The next we see about the Mongol invasion. So Alauddin Khalji, before he became a king, after killing his father-in-law known as Jalaluddin Khalji, he had got lots of knowledge. He had heard about the Mongol leader known as Genghis Khan, who was then one of the great king who also chased Shah of Persia, who went and took shelter to Iltutmish, but he denied in order to stay away from the Mongols. And finally, what were the steps taken by Alauddin Khalji to stay from the Mongol invasion? That he constructed lots of forts. Apart from that, whichever were the old forts, all they were also repaired, lots of buildings were also constructed, and finally the standing army, which were also created by Alauddin Khalji for the first time under the Delhi Sultanate kingdom. And that became one of the interesting fact, that he could also save his empire as well as the kingdom and the people from the hands of Mongol leader Genghis Khan. The next topic we see about administration. So when we talk about the administration of Alauddin Khalji, he gave mainly the topic over how to make his kingdom or his dynasty a very powerful one, with a stronger one, so that even he would see all those kinds of problems getting erased with a proper solution. And in order to raise the standard of his administration, he made a strict eye on all the noble officers who were corrupted. They were being removed from those kinds of posts, and the young, trusted, who were very honest and punctual, those kinds of people were given the post as a nobles and officers. After that, even he made or introduced a spy system, where he could get lots of information about the kingdom, about the people, what kind of conspiracy is going on against him, or even from about the Mongol invasion. And so for that, spy system was also created by him. And the next, the most important factor that he made under the administration is known as the Dag and Chehra. So Dag was exactly an identity card for all the soldiers that came under the unit of Khalji Dynasty, just to see overall that who are in a post of commander-in-chief, who are been in the infantry side, cavalry side, or in the chariot, in the elephant. All those kinds was been given as an identity card, and that were known as Dag. The second one is known as Chehra. So Chehra was exactly a branding of horses, or how to maintain the horses, because we all know whenever we talk about the cavalry, in the cavalry mainly horses plays a very important role in the battlefield. So how to improve his horses, and for them lots of soldiers were also put to maintain, to feed them, to just maintain overall the branding over the horses, which were very much useful towards the battlefield. So in this way we see how Alauddin Khalji, after getting the throne after his father-in-law, he took lots of strain measures as well as the preventive measures against Mongol invasion, and lots of policies or the schemes under the administrative system. So today we'll stop with all this topic. You have understood whatever I taught, I guess. So till then, stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you.